Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday webinar. We have Kerry from Optimum SA. My name is Katie from All Our Schools. Hope you're all doing very well.
Yes, hello
Hi.
everybody.
Okay, so today we are going to be speaking about
Hey, look at that fancy, hey? Sure.
Yeah, so today we're going to be speaking about the learning equipment that we'll be needing for online and home education. So let's first discuss the requirements needed.
Yes.
So firstly, we're going to speak about online home education, which we'll be needing a laptop, a desktop, printer, and steady internet, online tutor center, learning apps, and obviously, most importantly, for both home education and online home education, a working email account.
That everybody checks regularly, not once a week. Often, check it often.
So when we mean steady internet, it must be able to carry through, even if it's a tutorial or a full class. It must be able to not echo and break off and disconnect the whole time. It needs to be as steady as possible.
Yes, that would be ideal.
And then also another thing is that when it comes to using your printer, to obviously have ink, and obviously it needs to be connected to your printer desktop. Now, moving on to home education equipment. Kerry, I don't know if you want to touch down on some of the equipment that we'll be needing.
Yes. Look, first and foremost, like you've got the example, well, you obviously definitely need your textbooks. The learner needs their textbooks to learn the content from. So that's way top on the list. And then secondly, some of our clients like to use actual exercise books. So like you would normally buy for a regular school, you buy exercise books, the faint ruled one, whatever, so that the everyday activities can go into that, or summaries, or, the mind maps for, part of the summaries. And then they would need an exam pad to write the actual, to complete the actual tasks that get handed in for marking, because you don't want to hand in the exercise books if it's got all the summaries in, and then the learner needs to, study for the upcoming term 2 exams, but the curriculum provider is then sitting with the exercise books that has the summaries in. So that is why we ask for all tasks to be completed and written on exam pad paper. So with Optimum SA, for example, we provide cover pages because it forces children to label the stuff so that we know what's what. Okay. Then the second one is, like I mentioned, for summaries and mind maps, you need colors like highlighters, just the normal regular school stationery, mathematical set, obviously ruler and pencil and pens. Mom, don't buy the children red pens. That's for us teachers to use. No, for red pens. But yes, so black pens and blue pens, pencils, the typical, razor, ruler, whatever. And then when it comes to subjects like life skills for grade 1 to 6, and then life orientation, not so much for life orientation for grade 7 to 9, but the subject creative arts, they're going to need art equipment like pastels and paint and charcoal and all sorts of different pencils. But what I generally tell my parents is, don't go and buy the whole art shop finished. Some moms like that because, like, I've got a thing for stationery. I can go, woohoo, nuts, it's Christmas. But, if you are counting the pennies like a lot of our parents are, literally just go through the terms work, just skim through, and wherever it comes to the visual art section for the artwork, or in life skills for an art piece that needs to be done, then go and see for, let's say, paint. If paint isn't available, then use alternatives. It doesn't have to be the paint that has been listed in the book. So as long as it's something close to for the learner to complete that particular task, especially the ones to be handed in. So there's art equipment, and then you can go according to your list here for storybooks, for our storybook corner, for practicing reading. You've got your educational videos, which good old Google and YouTube are awesome for, so you'd need that steady internet for. Games makes things fun for learners to remember content. So you can do a spin-off on I Spy with My Little Eye, what begins with a B and leaf and whatever, and what is a leaf got to do with photosynthesis. So you can make games like that if you wish. Flashcards is good, especially if you've got a visual learner, for doing random spot checks on items. On our tests and exams, the multiple choice section in a paper carries usually between 40 to 45% of the paper. So flashcards is nice, where you've got the definition of a word, and then you've got the actual word, and you take turns on to flip it around for the learner to answer. So there's that, and then I don't know, you'll have to clarify on the learning blocks. I think that's for grade 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, or even like learning blocks, numbers, colors, shapes, ABC, or as they get older, they can make their own learning blocks, because there's 4 sides. They can draw pictures of what they're busy learning about, just to make it fun and engaging. So it doesn't have to be just for grade 1, 2s, and 3s. There are other ways that a learner can maybe make their own learning blocks in different subjects to help them maybe remember something, or while they're busy studying for the exams, like
create a learning block.
like page 2, and it has put the questions on there, and then they've got to look, cover, right, check type of thing.
Yes.
So they could maybe make their own type of learning blocks, and then also 1, 2, and 3, they can have the numbers, colors, and shapes.
Yes, no, definitely. So look, whatever, at the end of the day, you, the parent, knows what appeals to your child. So you buy or make or whatever the case may be to help them along with their education. But the standard, because I often get mums and dads, what's the stationery list? We don't have one. It's the same stationery like you would get at a school. So but it's generally exercise books, exam pads, stationery, and most importantly, your textbooks. So you cannot start the grade with no books. So yes.
Yeah, so we've covered this one a few minutes ago, home education and online education, stationery, notebooks, exam pads, pens, colors, pencils, and etc. Maybe a whiteboard and whiteboard markers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice if you want to play teacher and stand and draw out, math equations and all sorts, and you can rub it out. So if you have the space and the facilities to have that up, then that is a nice idea. Also a pin board to pin up the work schedule and the timetable and all sorts of that, so everybody can see it. So that's a very good one. So well done on that one.
Yeah. So for home education equipment, don't forget we need to have, if you can, a steady laptop and desktop, printer, stable internet, and a little help for our parents. If you do invest in a laptop or a desktop, try and get one that can handle like Google Chrome, learning apps and things like that, because it's quite important. It can help our children engage more, especially with the internet, and especially if you want them to take part in extra tutorials online or join a online educational provider. It does help a lot to have that speed on your laptop or desktop.
Yes, all in place, because a frustrated learner and a parent, not much work gets done that day. So
because they will also help them, especially with Google, like if they want to get access to new books, YouTube videos, and things like that, to get their tasks and assignments and extra question papers. So it really does help in the long run.
Yes, definitely. Well, you're looking at it as a lifelong investment for the child's education. So, you know, once you buy that laptop or you have that desktop set up with adequate internet, then, you know, it's not like they're just going to use it for a few months. It can be used for as long as they're doing their education at home, or, you know,
right through to varsity.
Yes, so even for learners that end up going back to regular school, they're going to make use of those all that equipment anyway, because they have to do research for projects for what they've got to do. So it's not it's not like it's, oh no, this is just for home education, because it can also be used for when a learner, if circumstances bring it that they have to go back to regular school.
So it's a good game changer. Well, I'll just like to, is there anything else you'd like to add in?
No, not really. This is a very brief topic, because I mean, it's also a lot of, I don't want to say common sense, but you know, it is very basic, this topic, and it just, we've brought it to everybody's attention to link up with last week's webinar with a allocated workspace for school, for the homeschooling. So along with an allocated space comes the equipment that's needed to complete their, you know, their grade successfully. So it is always nice to have everything ahead of time, and to be made aware of, oh yes, I mean, even if our parents aren't doing online, they still need access to their emails to be able to download their papers to print it. So if you're lucky enough to have a printer at home, then you got to make sure that you've, you know, you've got the ink and the paper to print it with, you know. So
yeah,
it's some people, oh yes, I forgot to need this. So it's just a nice reminder for everybody.
Especially like even if you're doing home education, or if you do go online, it's a very flexy thing to have in your home, instead of running to the internet cafe for assessments and tasks and exams. It's just easier to print and scan than running around and trying to figure it all out.
Yes, and our parents, please, you don't have to go and buy a big fancy color printer. Like with our parents, we tell them, you're more than welcome. Everything doesn't need to be printed in color. You know, because the ink at the end of the day can be jolly expensive, especially when you're printing a lot of stuff. That is a big reason why our tasks instructions feature in the learner books. But there are really good printers out there that are affordable, that are what's economical is the word, excuse us. So it just means mum or dad or auntie, uncle, the guardian or whoever just needs to do a little bit of research instead of just going to go buy the first one that they see. So you don't necessarily need the fanciest, biggest and most expensive printer. As long as it prints black and white, that's perfectly fine.
That's awesome. Like, All right, so that's pretty much what we've covered for today's Wednesday webinar. So
Yes.
I'll have a chat to you and our viewers next week. If you have any questions, please, you feel free to leave your comments below, and or any questions that you have regarding to your child's home education or online education, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you next time, next week. Sorry,
Same
excuse
time
me.
next week.
Same time next week at 2:30. Have
Yes.
a lovely week further, everybody, and we'll chat soon.
Yes. Thank you, Katie, for having us. And we'll see you next week. Hey?
Yes, 100%.
Awesome. Bye, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye-bye,